Good to see you.
Matt, good to see you, man.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so funny, it's been a bit. It's been a couple of years. Remember last time we did like 2 interviews in a week? Do you remember them?
Yes, I remember that. I remember that. I know they were like, you're gonna be with Petey, and I was like, I remember Petey.
Congratulations, man. So
Thank
good.
You so much.
You're so
Thank
good
you.
in this. I usually talk about that script to screen journey, right? Like you get scripts for something, then you go to production. But we have like a 3-headed monster, right? Because we have the books, then the script, then the screen, right?
Yeah.
What is that like for you specifically? Like that kind of process?
Yeah, it's really interesting because whenever I booked the show, I went and bought the book and I read the book. And it's really an interesting thing because I think traditionally, when you read a book, you read these characters and you envision these characters, this version of what you're creating based on what the book describes, right? And so reading the book, knowing that I'm going to be playing this guy, I didn't have that experience of creating the character in my head. Like I was just envisioning myself and envisioning my co-stars playing the other people. So it was really strange having to create that. And then falling in love with the book and falling in love with this story, to then getting the scripts that we're, about to shoot, it felt like, between reading the book and getting the first script, it was probably a month or so. And so I just know when I read the scripts, every single time we would get a new episode, I felt like I was refeeling all these emotions that I had reading the books. And I think that, Amy and the writing team did such a good job of really adapting the show to be such a great depiction and accurate representation of what the book was.
Absolutely. And it's all storytelling at the end of the day, different worlds, different characters. But was this character for you very new and different compared to past characters? Or were you able to kind of pull from past characters you've done?
Yeah, I think, I definitely got to pull a little bit from other characters, but I think what was so fun about Sam is he is honestly maybe one of the first characters that really is in touch with his emotions. And so I got to play such there's so many different emotional depths that I had to kind of tap into for this. And there's a lot of moments, where I've got some really rough relationship things going on, between Sam and Percy and between Sam and Charlie, and, he just lost his mother. And so there's so many different things that are happening. And also, I'm playing him at 5 different ages. I'm playing him at his teenage years as well as, being in his late 20s. So inherently it almost feels like you're playing 2 different characters that just share the same core. So yeah, it's a lot of fun and definitely a new challenge that I've never experienced before.
Man, so that's a great your answer was a great segue because for my next question, it's like you knew what I was going to ask. You're a pro, man.
They sent me the script.
It's interesting, right? Because the flashbacks are so kind of key in these books and in the series. And, I do want to know, is it a completely kind of different, separate preparation, playing a character that, we are also going to see, flashbacks of, right? You're not playing that flashback character, but, you're going to see, a young Sam. It's interesting, right? I feel like that's its own kind of journey, the flashbacks.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It completely changed my prep and how I prep just basic scene work, I think. It's hard because I was so used to doing this one thing and I've been doing it for my whole career. And honestly, I probably needed a switch up anyways. But I had to take into consideration all these different things. There would be days where, I'd get there in the morning and I'd play 16 years old. And then after lunch, I'm playing 28. So it's so many things to keep up with. And I had to keep a binder. I kept a binder with all 8 episodes in it. And I post-it note color coordinated each age and character relationship. So if I was in a scene at 16 with Percy, there were 2 specific colors for that. And if I was 28 with Percy, there were 2 different colors for that. And so trying to just really keep those things organized so I could cross-reference and go back and forth between the ages and between the stories and where Sam's at and where Percy's at and where these relationships are. It was a lot of work, but it was so fun. And it was so, really just honestly entertaining for me to get to kind of play all those different worlds.
Absolutely. Then last question, my filmmaker hat asks you this question right now, Matt, because these are the things I think of, right? We're going to see some scenes, whether it's your character, running with some music, like, listening to some music, or some scenes with Sadie and everything. And the runtimes of those scenes are like 2-3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
For the viewer. And then we go to the next scene. But I know that there's a chance that those scenes might have taken the whole afternoon or like 3-4 days. When those big scenes happen, do they feel like their own mini movie, mini project, or do they overall feel part of every year after?
Sometimes they do feel like their own individual moment. It's like, especially some of the bigger scenes, like the big scenes from the books that we really wanted to take our time with and really wanted to make sure we really hit the nail on the head. I think, there's a few specific scenes, the anatomy textbook scene from the book being one really big one. And, the memorial. There's just so many beautiful moments that are very, very, very important to the story, but also really important to the fans that love the book. And so we wanted to make sure we spent some really precious time focusing on those scenes and really, really getting things right and making sure we're kind of capturing what Carly captured in the book. So yeah, sometimes it did feel like we were making our own story within the show that just happened to still tie into the show, for sure.
So cool. And I can't wait for people to see Every Year After on Prime Video. Congratulations, man. You were so good in this. Good to see you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. So good to see you, Petey. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.